Hey everybody,
Hey.
welcome back. I'm back from Mexico. As some of you may have heard from Landy's last videos, I was there getting my residency and taking care of some stuff. So we're back with our new video, back together again.
Yeah. So what are we going to talk about today?
Is Houston better than Querétaro?
Is Houston better than Querétaro?
I think from Landy's last few videos, we've had some interesting comments. We've had some interesting conversations with ourselves about this topic. And so I think sometimes people may misread what Landy was saying. Even when I heard Landy's last videos, I thought they were very clear. I understood what she was saying. I didn't get anything negative from it, but I think sometimes people can interpret things in their own ways. So I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I just feel like people see we are leaving Querétaro, Mexico for Houston because we think Houston must be better than Querétaro. We never said that.
Right. And people kept talking about like, oh, I would never move to Houston. It's so dangerous. There's so much crime there as compared to peaceful Querétaro, which is true. But for those of you who actually listen to our videos, let me say it very clearly. We are not living in Houston.
Right, that's another thing. Yes.
We are living north of Houston, well outside by at least an hour. So again, hopefully that's very clear that we're not living inside of Houston. I think it's just easier for people to understand. If we were to say the name of our town, people would be like,
where is it? Yeah.
So it makes it easier just to say Houston as a frame of reference.
Right.
But so what are some of the differences? Is Houston better? Is Querétaro better? What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're just two very different cultural, different places. It's not very comparable.
Right.
Like, how to compare? Querétaro is a small city, and Houston is the fourth largest city in the U.S. From the culture, from many aspects, they're just so different. I don't even want to compare these two places.
Right. It's like the old saying, it's comparing apples to oranges. I mean, yes, are they both cities? Can you live there? Absolutely. But they're so different, it's really hard to compare them to each other.
Right.
I mean, there's so many different aspects of each particular city. I mean, you can break it down, which we've talked about like many, many times. When it comes down to climate, I think most people would agree, Querétaro wins hands down every time.
Yeah, the yearly seasoning weather, it's Querétaro wins.
Oh yeah, by far.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about Houston, 100 degrees plus in the summer and high humidity.
The summer is bad.
Nobody's going to argue that, ourselves included. It's not like we love to be out in the middle of August in 110 degree weather. Like, oh, yeah, it's so wonderful out here.
Right.
Not at all. I think for that, we'd rather be in Querétaro.
Right.
But again, other things that people talk about, things like the food culture, in Querétaro. I think that's kind of a general knowledge that a lot of people talk about. Oh, when it comes to foodies and food in Querétaro, maybe not the best known area to get food in Mexico. But again, you compare it to Houston. Houston is a very multicultural city that offers a lot, and it offers a lot in the way of things like food. Right?
Yeah, like in Houston has that's the fourth largest Chinatown. It's just awesome. We can get so many food here. Not just Chinese food. I mean Japanese food, Korean food, Indian food.
Thai food.
Yeah, we have Vietnamese town, the Indian town.
I think there's even a Pakistani town, Greek town.
Right.
Not Asian, but.
Yeah, and in the north part, there's so many Eastern European living here. They have their own culture, their own communities.
And I think we're talking also about like really authentic food. I'm sure people really understand and have heard this concept before, like Chinese food. Chinese food in America and like even Mexico, that's not real Chinese food. Right? When you go to the Houston Chinatown, and you can get truly authentic Chinese food.
Yeah, we have our own menu. They give me a different menu. That's our own food. Right. We don't even have English name for that.
And which is true of the other Asian and other cultural foods that are here. You get so much more really authentic people who move from that country and make the food here in Houston. And it's just really delicious. So it's some really great food here in Houston. And then even on top of that, things like Texas barbecue, right? One of the things Texas is known for, barbecue. There's some really good barbecue out here or close by.
Yeah, and the portion is big, the Texas size.
Yeah,
Once you're in Mexico, sometimes you see the plate like, I think I want to order the second plate.
So yeah, it might seem a little bit cheaper, on the front, but if you like to eat like we do, sometimes you have to order a little bit more. So, but here in Texas, you order one plate and
I couldn't even finish my lunch today.
Yeah, same here. I know I'm a big guy, and even today I said, no, I'm done.
Yeah, so besides food, it's also related to the diversified cultural and different nationalities, people living here.
Right, there's constant festivals, right? Cultural festivals here all year round. I think when we first got here, we saw the Korean festival.
Yeah, Korean
Right.
festival, Greek festival,
Latin
like
festival,
so
Colombian
many
festival.
things,
Yeah, I mean,
so many museums.
It breaks down
festivals.
to like every culture has their own festival at some point during the year.
I'm not doubting Querétaro doesn't have its own festival after the COVID, the quarantine, like this year. Yeah,
Right.
every time we go to the Central Plaza, the Denia Plaza, there's a lot of things going on.
Oh yeah, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
It's just when you're talking about on a multicultural level, it's not quite comparable, right? Definitely things to do, lots of things to do in Querétaro, right? With music and arts and stuff. But again, it's very difficult to say they're
Yeah.
the same. What else?
And I think for us, the business opportunities,
Right.
this part is not comparable. It's
Right.
different culture, different economics.
Right, and different laws and stuff. And again, I know people will say, well, you should understand the laws and know the laws. Absolutely. Again, nobody's disagreeing with that. But when we went there, we went for a different reason. We wanted to kind of relax and
Right.
spend time with our son.
Yeah.
But once we kind of had settled in, we realized we wanted to work more. And so for us, again, the better place to work, especially in real estate, is Houston. Again, is it because Houston's better than Querétaro? No, it's just this is where better business can be done.
Yeah, I think we're still young. We still want to work.
Right.
We don't want to retire and sit there. We're not 55-year-old yet.
Or 65.
Okay. So that's why, for this reason, I think we still have more energy. We want to work. We have the passion in business. That's why we choose Houston.
Right.
Yeah.
And then going back to even smaller topics. Oh, no, I shouldn't say smaller topics. Things like crime.
Crime,
Is crime, inside of Houston worse than Querétaro? Yeah. And I know people are going to keep talking about cartels and their shootings in Houston and as compared to Chicago and their these shithole cities and stuff. Again, nobody's disagreeing that Houston and big cities have their problems when it comes to crime. They do.
Yeah.
Right. And again, when it comes down to violent crime, is Querétaro better? Yes, probably, absolutely. I mean, does crime happen there? Sure. Right. So again, nobody's disputing that fact. But again, ourselves personally, our work may be in Houston, but where we're going to live is going to be outside of town, right? So we're not really concerned about that. We're in a very quiet, safe neighborhood. And again, can crime happen there? Possibly, sure. But it's something that we're not really concerning ourselves with at the moment.
Yeah, but you talk about like a small crime, like people breaking. We also heard bad stories. There's a lady who's a doctor. She always posts on Facebook. She said she lives in Hulikia. Her house got broken 3 times.
House invasions, right?
Yeah,
Where people,
in Hulikia,
where
which
people
is a
went
good
in with
neighborhood.
guns,
With guns.
right, and held them up and stole from them. So, and
Right,
that's supposed to be
it
a very
happened.
safe city.
It happened. It doesn't mean Querétaro is safe, but also not 100%. Like when we live in the central for 1 year, our neighbor told us, close the gate at night. There's a lock there. Why?
Chain it.
A chain, because someone broke in. They shake the gate right in the central. And they break in and stolen one of our neighbor's scooter. Right. It happened.
Right.
So don't think Querétaro is 100% safe. No, never say that. You always have the caution.
Right. Always be aware of your surroundings. Right. That's a very common expression, and it's true.
Yeah,
Be
even
aware
in
of your
Zakia,
surroundings.
people break in. We heard the stories.
Yep.
They even have a security gate. Like, who did it? The security? I don't want to say that, but who knows?
But other people did.
Some other people did.
Yeah, well,
yes.
people on the Zakia community groups definitely had their theories about what happened there.
Yeah, so even it's gated community, still people break in. Still a few houses, not
Right.
just one.
Right. But again, overall, in general,
Overall,
I would say
overall,
Querétaro
yes.
is probably the safer city. 100%. Definitely
Yeah.
safer.
Okay.
What else? Oh,
Transportation.
Transportation. Right.
Infrastructure.
Right, infrastructure, right? Not so much as transportation, because obviously everybody can drive in Querétaro and Houston. But when it comes to, because Houston is such a big city, I mean, you're talking about multi-lane, 4, 6, 8 lane highways, state highways, that can get you to where you need to be a lot faster. And again, they are taken care of better. I think that kind of maybe ties into the idea of taxes, right? I know we've talked about this before. I think one of the reasons that cost of living in Mexico is so inexpensive is because you don't have to pay as much taxes, right? People always talk about taxes here in the U.S., and I know people may disagree with this or how it's spent, but a lot of that money is spent on infrastructure and things, again, try to keep, the city taken care of. So roads are a little better in general. I mean, are there some bad roads? Yes, there's some bad roads and potholes, but you cannot compare the roads in Querétaro to the roads in Houston, right? They are a lot smoother, bigger, faster, in
Right.
Houston. So
And more organized.
and more organized,
Right.
Definitely. So, and it has to be. It has to be because Houston is a much bigger city just on the pure scale. So
Yeah.
it has to be more organized and taken care of. Right.
Then we also talk about, because we talk about paying tax, lower tax pay there. I don't really want to talk about how low there. I don't know.
Don't know.
But we just feel it's related. All the maintenance, all the parks, every facilities for kids, especially we have young kids. Over there we find many broken facilities. For my son's safety, I'm worried a little bit. Every time I'm gonna make sure there's no hole, no cracks under those slides or swings, make sure everything's safe for him.
Right.
But here you just concern less. When most things are fine.
And they tend to be taken care of and maintained on a much more regular basis, right? And again, so our feeling is because you have to pay people, you have to buy material, right? So where does that money come from? 9 times out of 10, it does come from taxes, right? So you do pay more here, but at least it's kind of put to good use.
Yeah. For kids' part, we also talk about more parks, more things to do, more outdoors.
Lots of parks, zoos, lots of outdoor activities, very green and safe. And I think even when it comes down to education.
Education.
I mean, Querétaro, when it comes to international schools, again, I'm sure they're very excellent. We haven't gotten to that stage yet. We're not as familiar with the school system in Mexico or
we don't want to judge this as we never experienced this.
So we can't.
Yeah, we cannot say it's super good or it's so we don't know. Okay, but we know here that you've been in the school system for a long time.
Right. It is my own personal experience as a student, as a teacher, and then just living in Houston. I know Houston school districts and some of the outlying suburbs are not known just as being excellent schools, but excellent schools in Texas and even in the U.S. I mean, we're talking, the districts like the Woodlands and Katy and Sugarland. Again, these are, when people say Houston, sometimes they might live in Sugarland, right? And this is what considered one of the best school districts probably in the U.S., not just here in Houston or Texas. Right? So there are some excellent educational opportunities, even in public schools, right? Where some of the best and brightest, and they have great extracurricular activities and clubs of math and science, and every kind of club that's out there that you can get involved in. So there's lots of opportunities, for any child or student, to get involved in. Just like anything, any job, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So if you want to go and sleep in class and do this and be a behavioral problem, well, that's on the student and their family and their issues, right? But if you're a student who goes out there and works and wants something, you're going to have an excellent opportunity, to attain what you want to attain. By going even through the public school system here in the U.S. and Texas.
Yeah, we're not saying the international schools in Mexico is not good.
I'm sure
we never say that.
Right.
We never say they don't have after-school activities, no sports at all. No, we saw kids are playing baseball in the Park 2000. We saw kids are having like even the French school outside of Zakia. We saw there's a big
like a soccer club.
Right. Yeah.
So they are out there. We just don't think they're on the scale as here. But again, this is just based on our limited observation. So, who knows? I mean, maybe some of y'all can let us know who have sent your children to some of the international schools or even public school. Are we right? Are we wrong? Are we close? Are we way off base? We'd love to know, what we're missing here.
Right. And another thing I think also for traveling parts, especially with the little one, we're not saying the bus system is not good in Mexico.
I think it's better.
The ENT, Prime, everything's pretty good there.
Right.
But with the little one, you drive to another town, you're really gonna watch out for the kids' safety.
Right.
And where are we gonna stay?
Right.
Is the facility good? Is the city really good and safe?
Right.
If we road trip here, it's just easier, smoother.
Right.
But we did a road trip before I got pregnant.
Right, all the time.
Yeah.
And maybe this is based just on stories we've heard because we've traveled and driven through Mexico ourselves, and up to our limited time in Mexico, the 2 years, we never really had any issues. So I mean, obviously, we're not speaking of a personal situation where we really felt in danger. But if you look at all the forums and stories out there, I mean, to deny that things don't happen on the highways and the smaller state highways, off the main. Federal highways and things like that don't happen where people are extorted or even worse or unofficial stops, where men with guns and black suits, are asking for tolls. To say that doesn't happen, it would be, I guess, maybe trying to fool yourself.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows it happened. But as far as, you never really hear things like that happening here in the U.S. where people are, where, unaffiliated men are just standing on the road somewhere on some small highway trying to extort people for money, or even worse. So things like that do happen, and you have to be aware. Again, like that, nothing personal has ever happened to us, but there's definitely stories out there.
Yeah.
It happens. So you always have to be careful. I think last time we came back, I kind of got that weird feeling. We passed through 3 checkpoints in Tamaulipas within, and no kidding, within probably 15, 20 kilometers, which seemed to me, as we got to the second one, why is there one so close to the last one? Is this going to be the real thing? And then, okay, we passed it, no problem. We got to the third. Why is there another one so close? And so it just kind of wears in the back of your mind, like, what's happening? And maybe that's self-inflicted on my, by myself. But, and again, we got through that one, no problem. So at the end of the day, nothing happened. But it's just one of those things that kind of weighs on your mind. As you travel through Mexico.
That's some concern we don't really have when we drive around in the U.S. We don't have those concerns.
Right.
Not much.
Not much.
Yeah, for this part.
Now, I know some people might say, well, there's carjackings and things like that. Yeah, there's carjacking, sure. But again, it's limited. I think that's a very, very small percentage. Just probably like it's a small percentage of people who get stopped. But when you get stopped in those unofficial tolls in Mexico, I mean, there may be like lines, they might stop the highways, for cars and cars and cars and cars and extort people for money or worse, as compared to a carjacking, which is going to be maybe just limited to one singular case at that moment, and then it's done and it goes on, right? I think that's a little different.
I think another thing, maybe that's a big thing people are interested is how bad the cops corruption is really going on in Mexico. I'm not talking about the Querétaro itself. Probably there's something there, but so far we haven't met any. But we do hear the stories in big cities, Mexico City, Cancun,
I think
Playa del Carmen. You know what I'm talking about? Those popular cities.
Yeah, I think the level again is much higher. I'm sure it happens here, but again, I just don't think it's on the level. And I think a lot of that has to do with just the pay. I think that's one of the big issues people always talk about as far as why police in Mexico may be more corrupted. It's because they get paid so low, which is unfortunate. I mean, any law enforcement official should be paid respectably well enough to make a living, earnable living. That's just how we feel. I mean, any law enforcement officer, that's their right. I mean, they're helping protect people. At least that's what they should be. But because they're being paid so little, I think they feel that they have to.
Right. There are just some part of those cops are doing that. I'm not talking about every cop. We met nice cops in Querétaro. They're very nice people, smiling, right on the bicycle. We see them every day. They're good people.
Right. Help us out on particular situations that needed directions here and there.
But in certain areas.
You always got to be aware. So, it's just all these kind of things that kind of just weigh on you. Any other last things besides police, education? What else?
Yeah, I think again, we not really want to compare so much. It's just different.
Right.
Like for some parts, we prefer Querétaro. Some parts, we prefer Houston.
Right.
Like it's like a lot of pro and cons going on. But in the end, what we feel like is we need to follow what's the top need.
Right.
I think that's more important. If you want to be more relaxed mode, very lower cost of living, don't worry about things. Sure,
safe city,
you
climate.
move there, Querétaro, all some beach towns there. Perfect. We're not saying they're not good. We may move there down the way, but for this moment, I know we feel the best living life mode for us is do some business here, then go there for a certain season when we don't like the heat here, we don't like the coldness here, we get bored here, we need to relax. Then we have a second place to rent to. We love Mexico. There's so many other places we still haven't been explored yet.
Right. I think we've talked about summers. We can go back to Querétaro or Mexico City or places that where we haven't been to, Puebla or Oaxaca, places that are much cooler in the summer.
Yeah, I still want to go to Huatulco in the south.
Right, and then when it gets cold, go back to the beaches when it's
La
January,
Paz
February.
in the north. There's still so many places on our travel list. So so when people think we moved to Houston is because we prefer Houston, we don't like Querétaro anymore. No, that's not what we are talking about.
No, absolutely not. Right? They're just different. Apples and oranges. You can't compare the two. They're both great cities. They both offer lots of opportunities and different things to different people.
Yeah.
Right? Again, so it's all about what you need and take that into consideration, whether it's Houston, Querétaro, or any other city in Mexico or the U.S. Take what you need. What is your need? and go from there.
Right. Okay, I think that's all for today. What do you think? Thank you for watching our conversation until now. If you have any comments, what do you think? Please leave a comment in the below.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.